The arena is quiet for now. But contestants Marty and Scarlett could be walking into an ambush.
Shit. Oh, it's an ambush!
They're surrounded!
Wakey, wakey!
Let's rock!
Surprise, motherfucker!
You want some too? I got plenty.
Now that's using your head!
Hasta la vista, baby.
Baby! And that's no way to treat a lady! It's no rules and no mercy on Homicidal All-Stars! But wait, who's that entering the arena? It's Ulysses, the reigning champion!
Let's heat things up.
No matter where in the world you are joining us from, we proudly welcome you to another live stream on Twitch for the upcoming calamity of chaos we call Homicidal All-Stars, coming soon to Steam and GOG. Wish list it right now. What's up, everybody? I am Johnny LaQuasto. I am the voice of announcer Joe Stern in Homicidal All-Stars, and today, really fun conversation for all of you who are wondering, like, what's the inspiration behind this game? Why is it so fun? Why is it so detailed? Where did this team come up with all the ideas? Not just from their brains, but also from inspirations growing up, things like that. So I'm so happy to be joined by someone who I've been working with from the beginning of this game, well over a year now. She's the narrative designer at Artificer Games, Olga Ilukowicz. How are you today?
Hello, Johnny. Good to hear you. I'm very glad to be here and to be talking about Homicidal All-Stars and Homicidal All-Stars, not just as a game, but also as the TV show that is in the game. Because today we'll be talking about the TV show theme and how we conceived that and why.
Absolutely. So Homicidal All-Stars, many people have already wishlisted it. Thank you for doing that. If you have a couple of friends who might be interested, make sure you send them the wish list link as well. Go to homicidalallstars.com, find it on Twitter, on Facebook as well. And the demo has been getting very, very good reviews. We're excited about that. And, I know, Olga, the team's been working on this game for 3 years. And what's cool about it, other than the fact that it's so detailed, it's a throwback to, essentially 90s action movies, which we all grew up with and that are still holding true today. So let's kind of talk about the inspirations a little bit. So why the TV show inside of a video game, which I think the idea is brilliant, but where'd that idea come from?
Right. So let me start by saying that Homicidal All-Stars was not always a video game about a TV show. This came a little bit later in the development when we looked at what we had so far, and we thought that we needed some kind of unifying theme that would fit, this 80s, 90s action movie vibe that we had going on, and the colorful, dystopian, but still, very over the top visuals and aesthetics that we went for. And I think it was our producer, Sebastian Hitchinson, who came up with the idea of a TV show, of a brutal TV show, not just any old TV show, not your mama's, a reality TV. When we started discussing it, actually, when it was first said out loud, let's make this into a brutal TV show where people, fight for their lives. It all clicked instantly, like everything fit, the vibe, the visuals, but also a lot of the themes that we already had in the game, because we, from the very beginning, we were going into this kind of near future dystopia that is evocative of sci-fi action movies from the 80s, 90s, right?
Sure. And I think also when you have a game a TV show inside of a video game, it kind of gives you a much bigger canvas to paint with, because
Yes.
it's almost like satire in a way, where it's like, well, you could say anything you want and then go, well, it's just satire. So you got to give me a break here. So when you could make this insane video game where it's a TV show that people are watching, you can make it as ridiculous as possible because it's a TV show that is inside of a video game.
Yeah, actually, this is actually completely correct what you said, because this TV show team gave us a lot of freedom creatively, because sometimes you have those things in a game that are really gamey, right? And you kind of hand wave them, you kind of don't mention them, you wink wink to the player and say, let's not talk about the fact that you just stole a sword from someone's house and he didn't even say anything, right? Because that happens a lot in the games. But when we came up with this TV show theme, we had this suddenly realization that a lot of the gamey, unrealistic elements of the game, which we had to put there for the sake of gameplay, right? Because you don't want a game where you lose health and then have no way of healing yourself. That would be kind of, that's not the genre that we're making anyway. So why do we have healing stations somewhere on the arenas? Well, because Omega Corporation, which is producing our show, is also producing weapons and military equipment and stuff, and they are putting it in the show as product placement. So they are, giving you a chance to use a healing station or use a new combat mech, and then also at the same time say, okay, but you viewers at home, if you are interested in a combat mech, you can buy it on our website, right? So you have this aspect of gamey elements. As you said, we can go, a lot of things can be explained by its TV show, right?
You can go as far as you want, essentially.
Yeah. We have, and I think it was shown on our live streams before, and it's also in the demo. So if you haven't played it, play it. We have stuff like, exploding barrels thrown from the ceiling onto the arena. It makes sense because the show producer decided, okay, there's not enough going on. Let's throw some explosives so that the challengers or the defenders can go out with a bang, right? So TV logic fits perfectly in this area.
And what's cool about what you're mentioning is, while we're talking, we're seeing footage of classic films. We're seeing Running Man footage. I never even heard of Death Race 2000. Now we're looking at Rollerball. And so I imagine every person on the team has different inspiration, has different movies. Now, obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger was still a massive star, but at this time, his movie career was like exploding. You could say he was probably the biggest movie star in the world, or at least approaching that at this point. So is Running Man, would you say it was maybe the #1 inspiration for the game, or were there a lot of other strong candidates as well?
Well, we had, a lot of different inspirations. So movies such as RoboCop or Dread, stuff like that were obviously inspirations, visually and not just visually. But when it comes to the TV show, I think one of the reasons why this theme clicked with us so instantly was that a lot of classic action movies kind of explore this theme, and it's a bit of an evergreen theme because it's not just the 80s and the 90s. Death Race 2000 is from the 70s, and it's an amazing movie. Like, if you haven't seen it, Johnny, you have to, and viewers at home as well.
All right.
I think it's the whole movie is on YouTube, but and Running Man, definitely. I think Running Man. It probably depends who you are going to ask on the team. Some people will say Running Man was the #1 reference. Some will, mostly me, will say Death Race 2000 was my main inspiration because I just loved this movie so much.
Wow.
Yeah, but both of them, I think I would put them in the top two, and just depending who you talk to, the one on the other will be number one. And to a smaller degree, of course, movies like Rollerblade, the Death Row Game Show, sorry, The Price of Danger. I mean, this topic has been explored in so many movies. Even nowadays, this topic also pops up in stuff like The Hunger Games or Squid Game, which Squid Game actually came out a little too late to be a big inspiration for us, but still, if you like this kind of topics, it's a great show to watch. So yes, so I think that's one of the advantages of this team, is that there's a lot of references to take inspiration from.
This is amazing. I'm looking at Death Race 2000, and yeah, filmed in 1975, and the description is America is a totalitarian regime on the brink of collapse. The most popular sport is the transcontinental road race, which teams earn points for logging the fastest time and mowing over the most innocent pedestrians in the process. Good God. Okay.
Yes.
The competitors include David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone. I wonder if this was before Rocky, because I want to say Rocky came out in 76.
That was before he was famous.
Yeah, because
So
Rocky came out in 76. Okay.
Yeah, Stallone actually plays a background role, really. He's not very important in the movie, but the role is really funny. Yeah, and I think what you already touched upon, and when you read this description, I think it was also kind of made clear, is that those movies are best when they are satire. When they do some kind of analysis of the, let's say, modern or contemporary society. And of course, they take it up to 11. But in a lot of ways, they kind of take them up to the logical conclusion. It's an extrapolation, but it never goes into territories that are completely, when you think, for example, looking at entertainment in the entertainment industry, even when we talk about movies, gore and violence is popular. It sells, right? It has been selling for forever. But movies, of course, are scripted. But this is not the only way in which people watch violent content, right? Because we had snuff films, right? We have fighting sports, which are okay. Nowadays they are non-lethal, but still people can get seriously hurt in some of them. We have modern reality TV, which maybe isn't violent, but it can still cause real emotional trauma to the contestants. And the drama and the arguments are kind of taken up to 11 by the producers to create, entertainment for the viewers, and not necessarily thinking about how it's going to affect the people inside.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
Of course. Reality TV is anything but. We've learned that at this point for sure. But, going back to your point, also, when it comes down to it, over the years, people, even going back to Doom and before that, people love violent video games. It's kind of a release, and people are going to have their opinions. But I mean, look at the overwhelming popularity of GTA. I mean, people have been clamoring for a new GTA now for, what was the last one? Almost a decade ago. I was a voice in GTA 5, a very small voice, but I was involved in it. And just to see the numbers that game drew, there's clearly a market. And what's great about, there's no game like Homicidal All-Stars out there right now.
Yeah, but I think there's one thing when you have this kind of scripted violence, like a movie or a video game where no one is actually hurt. But when you look at the past of our culture in general, you have stuff like gladiator fights and public executions that people watched for fun, right, for entertainment. And I think this is why those movies about violent TV, violent programming go to this logical conclusion that at some point people will just start watching people actually murder each other, because this had already happened in the past, right? There is the saying that you have to give people bread and circuses, right? This is the circuses part, and I think if you are creating this kind of really bleak, futuristic, dystopian media, then it is kind of logical that, okay, if it's so bleak and so bad, why are people not, rebelling against the whoever is keeping them down? Because they have their bread and they have their circuses, and those circuses have to be, taken up to 11, and really go into the violence and killing, just to keep people entertained and away from thinking about, their bleak reality.
And that would explain all the fans in the game of Homicidal All-Stars. As you're trying to survive in your own right, you see all the people running up to you. Hey, can I get an autograph? And that kind. You have these fans that are clearly probably not happy individuals, but they don't know any other reality than this dystopian, monstrosity that their world has become.
Yeah. But I guess before we talk about the fans, we should talk about the people who actually make the show for the fans.
So it's all from Omega Corp, and the show director, the guy that the big bad, I guess, if you will, would be Orion Ford.
Exactly. So we were kind of looking at our references, at the movies that have done this topic before us, and when we were looking at them, there was always, maybe not always, but in a lot of cases, there is this kind of announcer character, and then sometimes the announcer is the same as the showrunner or show director. In the case of The Running Man, Damon Killian is the same guy. He's both the face of the show and the mastermind behind it, who comes up with all the violent challenges. But often those are separate entities. So, for example, in Death Race 2000, one of my favorite movies, you have Junior Bruce, who is clearly just a sportcaster, and he's just calling what's going on. Well, hello, everyone, and stuff like, and now they killed him. Hooray! What fun! And then you have those shadowy figures behind the scenes that are responsible actually for what is happening. And we decided to separate them as well. So you're the face, right, of the show, but there is this guy behind behind the screen, who is kind of like the mastermind. Like in Hunger Games, we had this Seneca Crane in the first movie, right, who was kind of the architect of everything. So this is the role that Orion Ford plays. And he's the kind. Yeah.
So my question, Orion Ford, obviously we know human beings are his play toys. I mean, he's just that level of evil and wealth. And when it comes to it, like with Joe Stern, I always kind of had a question. Like, to me, Joe Stern, yes, I'm calling the action, but what's cool about what I was able to do and what you guys gave me is there was feeling behind it. I wasn't just necessarily calling it without realizing what was happening, because there were a couple moments where he's talking off camera, if you will. Would you consider Joe Stern to be kind of in cahoots with Omega Corp, or is he just more of like, hey, dude, look, I'm a freelance broadcaster, they brought me in, I'm going to do my best work for this company in this show?
In all honesty, I would say that it doesn't really matter to the story. He is he's there to play this role of, the announcer, whether he loves his job or just does it because he needs to feed his family. It's a little bit irrelevant, because I think what he actually does is kind of highlight this kind of contrast between the brutal reality of what the contestants are going through, and the fact that there are just people in front of their TVs watching it for fun, right?
Definitely. Yeah. It's
and he's kind of the bridge between that, because he's the guy who is, kind of maybe not with the contestants on the field, but very close to it. and then he talks to the audience at home and tells them more about what's going on and some inside knowledge and stuff like this. So he's kind of showing us that despite, we are playing as Scarlet and her and the other contestants, and we kind of see how they are suffering, and this is, a terrible situation for them. And I think, I'm not sure if there is anyone on the show, on the challenger side, who wants to be there, really. They are all kind of pushed into that situation by, just bad circumstances. But it doesn't really matter to the audience, and it doesn't really matter to the announcer, because he is there to give, the people a show, and the audience only cares about, it being flashy and gory and action packed.
Yeah, and just like in any sport, play-by-play guy, our job is to tell the story, and that's exactly what I do if I'm calling MMA, boxing, wrestling, whatever. And so that's why it was so fun to be Joe Stern. And obviously, you can't put on a massive show like this inside of a video game if you're Omega Corp without commercials, without sponsors, and you can see them throughout as you're playing. So, let's discuss, the billboards, the inspirations behind all these sponsors. It is very over the top, which is super fun.
Yeah. So I mentioned that apart from the movies that that do have that TV show theme, we had a lot of other inspirations, and one of the major ones was RoboCop. And even though RoboCop is not a TV show movie, it's not about that. It's a completely different story. It satirizes the entertainment industry and TV very well in those ad segments and news segments, right? Yeah. You have those really, like, for me, those are the funniest moments of the movie, which is, it's not a comedy. So obviously the stuff that is directly connected to the story is not going to be funny because it's a sad story in general. But then you have this kind of counterbalance in the form of those ads or those news broadcasts that kind of show you the absurdity, not just of this, imagined future, near future, whatever. It kind of, I think the reason why they work is because they are not that far off from what, already exists, right?
Yeah.
They just take it a little, over the top, but you kind of feel like, okay, I can imagine a future in which this ad would actually be played and people would not say, wow, that's dystopian. They would say, yeah, cool, I can get a new heart. Very nice.
Right.
Yeah. And
it's like what you mentioned with Omega Corp, they're going to put their own combat mech into the game to where it's like, in this crazy world, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to have a commercial pop on your screen like, oh, I can buy a Mega Blaster? All right, cool. Let me go to Amazon or let me go down and get one of these things. It's almost like,
we don't say the A company. But sorry. I'm joking. I'm just joking. But Omega is kind of this huge corporation that owns a lot of stuff. So, TV programming, but also weapons, but also probably a lot of other stuff. So this is a little bit of our wink about, huge corporation using their entertainment programming to then push their other products. But Omega is not the only sponsor that we have in the game. Actually, you can pick and choose which sponsorships you want, or in a way, they also get to choose if they want to cooperate with you. Because you have to
allowed? Yeah. Are you allowed to tell us what your favorite sponsor in the game might be?
I think my favorite one would be Lucky Punk, because it's connected to a character on the game, which is Zoe, who is the CEO of the company and who decided to get on the show to kind of do product placement for her own brand, which is a completely crazy character backstory, but that's the kind of character that she is. So obviously, I really enjoy that particular brand because it's also connected directly to the story. Of course, Omega is very, very, very connected to the story as well.
Sure. And I'm seeing on the screen here, we have Warmart, we have Krieg, which I'm assuming has something to do with Blitzkrieg. And okay, now we're back to gameplay. So I love how there is a list of a number of different sponsors. Just the details of this game, the creativity that goes behind every intricate detail is what I think everyone is going to truly appreciate when they get to play this.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I had a lot of fun with those ads and billboards, and I was the one responsible for a lot of the copy that is on those billboards. Obviously, the visuals and the graphics were done by our art teams, so they did an amazing job as well because you can see the brand identity of each of the, for example, weapon manufacturers. They have completely different styles. So Lucky Punk is going to be, colorful neon and like, in your face. And then you have this Walmart, which is kind of like, the assault gun that you buy in your friendly neighborhood.
I mean, the name speaks for itself.
Yeah. And that's also one of the reasons why those different brands have this different expectations of the contestants that they are going to sign sponsorship deals with, which is why you kind of have to fit their voice if you want their sponsorship. But I think I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the fans and their interactions.
Yeah, which I love that. That it's a parallel to when you're a great athlete. Guess what? You're going to get a Nike shoe deal. Well, in Homicidal All Stars, if you keep surviving, if you keep entertaining, you're going to get an endorsement deal with something completely insane. So let's talk about the fans, because this in Homicidal All Stars, this TV show is by far, without question, the most popular television show in the world. Everyone's watching all over the place. So you need fans. Clearly, this has fans. So talk about that fanfare that you can see in the game.
Yeah. So obviously, no TV show would exist without people watching it, right? It would get canceled. So you have to have people who watch it. And when you come up with this type of TV show, you kind of have to think about, okay, who are those people and why are they watching this? What is wrong with them, right? Clearly, they are disturbed in some way, right? And I think this is immediately a nice kind of way to put in some world building into your game, because or movie or whatever medium of your choice. Because obviously a world that is okay is not going to have this kind of TV show. So obviously something went really wrong at some point. And you actually get to meet those some of your fans, some of the audience while you play the game, and you get to interact with them, and you even get to give them autographs. So I think what I like, and I think I talked about it in the beginning, that a lot of the gameplay mechanics that would otherwise be kind of gamey, they fit the TV show theme in our case. So what's fun about both the sponsors and the fans, they are not just there as background to kind of remind you, you're on a TV show. They are actually involved in gameplay mechanics, right? You have this whole fame mechanic, where you gain fame as you do cool stuff. The more cool stuff you do, the faster your fame is going to increase. And then when you interact with the fans actually, and you give them the autographs, you can choose whether you want to be nice to them, or if you want to be a little bit cocky, or if you want to be an asshole. You can also just try to be the funny girl in this case. And this affects your internally, we call this personality points, but I would say this is kind of the reputation that you gain as you move forward. And depending on, your reputation, if you're this funny girl or if you're this asshole who just, doesn't care if the fans love her or hate her, it's all the same to her. Different brands are going to want to, associate with you. So
Right.
you won't be able to unlock some of the sponsorships unless you choose the correct voice. I mean, correct. There is no correct, of course, in the game, but the voice that they want, let's say.
And of course, every fan's going to approach it differently as well. So you never
yeah.
know how entertaining of an interaction you're going to have. And so it's just one more element that adds to the TV show vibe. What else does the game have when it comes to making you feel like you're really competing in this game show?
Yeah. Well, I think just coming back to the fans, I just wanted to also say that they also react to you differently depending on whether you're famous or not yet. So early in the game, people are going to be kind of disappointed that they got an autograph from a no-name expendable girl who will probably die in the next episode. And as you progress and you become more famous and perceived as a badass, people are way more excited to interact with you. But when we're talking about other elements still that make you feel that you're in an actual game show, I think I would like to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes stuff. So basically, we do have the game is split into several episodes, right? So each big area of the game and the combat arenas that are connected to that area are one episode, and then you move between the episode until, if you're lucky, you make it to the show finale. But we needed a place that is not on air, because we're not just talking about, we have a violent TV show, people kill each other, and this is it, just go kill people, it's fun, right? We want to tell a story, and we don't want to tell a story of a main hero or of a main character who is a psychopath who just wants to kill people on live TV. Actually, Scarlett is very far from what I just described. She is a pretty heroic character, I would say. And she has her own reasons for being there, but they are not, she's not there for the money, for the fame, or to kill some people because she enjoys killing people. That's not the kind of person she is. But how are we going to tell you what kind of person she is if she's always on air and you watch her from the perspective of, the audience? And clearly, if she's a guarded person with some sad story in her past, she's not going to talk about it when she knows that there is 1,000 cameras on her and people at home are watching her, and this is not the type of things you talk about on this kind of show, right?
Sure, but that's the cool thing about all these playable characters is all 7 of them have a unique and deep backstory. They're all competing for different reasons, and that's like any television show. In this video game, you find out the further you go along and the further you survive, and the story just gets more in depth.
Yes, but we can't just tell it during those episodes, because that just wouldn't make sense for them to suddenly start talking about, my sad backstory. Hi, thousands of people in front of TVs, of your TV sets. I'm going to tell you about that right now. But the logical thing to have is a backstage area, right? Because between the episodes, those people have to go somewhere. They have to not only go to sleep, but in this case, they have to get healed up, right? They were just shot at by 100 people. They just, almost got exploded and burned to death and stuff like that. if and in case of Orion Ford, who wants, to create an interesting show, he's not just going to let someone with 5 broken ribs get onto the next episode and die in the first 2 minutes, because that's boring, right? So we have this backstage area, which where the characters not only sleep, but they also have those super high-tech rejuvenation stations, which are supposed to kind of heal them up before they go back into the field. But this is not the only function that this backstage area has, or the resting area, actually. It's also the place where the characters can talk to each other without the cameras, prying into their personal lives. It's also the place where you can meet the staff that works on the show. Maybe not necessarily Orion Ford. You're going to only hear messages from him in this area, because he's too high and mighty to go down to the pleb and talk to them, but he does send them some messages. But you're going to meet the cleaning crew who is also responsible for cleaning up the dead bodies of other contestants or defenders that you slayed. You're going to meet the audio people. You're going to meet there is this character called Nicole from production, who is kind of the right hand of Orion Ford. And she she's the one who reminds you, okay guys, remember, always clean your guns so that the logo of the producer is of the sponsor is visible, and don't put any stickers on the logos. The branding has to be visible on camera, right? So she's this kind of person, and she's also the kind of person who is going to interview you. I'm not sure if you watch a lot of reality TV, but a lot of those shows have this kind of talking head, professional style cut-ins, right?
I can confirm, as a comedian who's done some things very similar, there is always someone who talks to the talent and tries to get background info and all. So this is all, and we just saw some footage here of Scarlett talking with Marty at the rejuvenation station. So this is all so thought out. Wow.
Yeah. So we actually have this confessional room like you had in Big Brother, for example, way back when. Where
still going. Yeah.
Oh, is it? It's not going in.
I think
Poland,
so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Big Brother is still huge, believe it or not. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I think it was canceled in Poland, but maybe I'm wrong. People watching, if you're from Poland, tell me. But they had this confession room where the Big Brother would ask them, okay, how was your day? And they would, talk about it. So in our game, we also have this kind of room where Nicole from production actually is the one asking the questions. And you as Scarlett can even choose the answer, what you want to tell her. Like when she asks you, how do you enjoy the show? You can answer, are you crazy? What's there to enjoy, right? I almost got killed literally 10 times today. Or you can choose a different answer that is going to be funny or maybe cocky. You can tell her, bring it on. I'm having so much fun because I'm so tough, right? So this also affects your image, because this is, the kind of stuff that would then get onto the episode and be shown to the people. And then your sponsors are going to, or potential sponsors are going to know that you are this kind of badass, and they want to associate with you or not, depending on what they like, right?
So much behind it. And now if people do want to play the demo, what's the most direct way for them to find it? We know homicidalallstars.com is the website. We know there's a Facebook page. There's also a Twitter and a TikTok. So if people want to, not only wish list it, they can go to any of those pages. But if they want to play the demo, where can they find that?
Yeah, so I would recommend going to Steam and just clicking download the demo and play it, because it's really fun. And you're going to see actually the combat portion of the game, where a lot of commentary from our wonderful announcer. And some of the TV, really, crazy entertainment TV teams are also in there. So you can check it out and see for yourself how our nasty show director is going to mess with your lives, because he does that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But go to Steam, download the demo, and wishlist it if you haven't already.
Yep, just found it on Steam. Really easy to find. Just Homicidal All-Stars. Boom, you can download the demo. Super easy. And if you've already wishlisted, we thank you so much. If you've already played the demo, awesome. Just get ready. This game is going to be out in the near future. But until then, send people the link. If you're a gamer who has friends who think they might love this game, send it to them. The more people wishlist this, the better it's going to be for everyone. So much work and love has gone into this game. We cannot wait for everyone to see it and feel it and hear it. And it's going to be so much fun. We're going to keep doing these streams. So Olga, once again, I say congratulations to you and the entire team. Proud to be on board. And what a great conversation this was to have such a good backstory of the game.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. And I think we got everything for today. Oh, one more question. If there's a confessional booth, will we be able to see or find recordings of the other contestants doing these? Interesting question.
Interesting question. And I don't think it's a big spoiler to say that, yes, you actually get to see some of the other confessionals by other people.
All right. Just one more thing to look forward to. That is awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Once again, homicidalallstars.com. Find it on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Spread the good word, because this game deserves it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, the TV show that kills. A new season of Homicidal All-Stars is coming. Tune in and watch it only on Omega TV. Otherwise, go to Steam, download the demo, and wishlist it. We thank you so much, everyone. For Homicidal All-Stars, I am Johnny LaQuasto, a.k.a. Joe Stern. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
The arena is quiet for now. But contestants Marty and Scarlett could be walking into an ambush.
Shit. What's an ambush?
They're surrounded.
Wakey, wakey.
Let's rock!
Surprise, motherfucker!
You want some too? I got plenty.
Now that's using your head.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Baby. And that's no way to treat a lady. It's no rules and no mercy on Homicidal All-Stars. But wait, who's that entering the arena? It's Ulysses, the reigning champion!
Let's heat things up.